Though locked in tombs once lived by the carcasses of previous Vegalian traitors, their demise was far from over. The entire of Vegala Infinity was called to alarms and distresses. It was the chime of the emperors. They would talk among the lessers, and with them the two cages containing Tyrant and Fate. All present were beholden to the powers above them as they would proclaim of the traitors not once but twice, trying to smite not only their own colony, but all of Vegalian kind. Before the gauntlet of punishment was to begin, however, the traitors were given one last chance to plead their words to those they turned their backs on. They would both quiver uncontrollably before laying their reasons on the ground. They would tell the people that they had been lied to by the deities, that there were many more truths to these lands. Planets have died and revived, and a new planet was created to simply be executed. They had felt Vegala needed to know before laying down their undeniable allegiance to whom they have shrined for so very long. This brings the citizens to a haunting silence as they look upon one another. But before they could think too long, the deities chuckled, chortled, erupted into a roar of laughter. They would speak to their people that Tyrant and Fate are about to be the cause of a deadly awakening to the innocent citizens of Vegala. They beckon that as easy as something is to give, something can be taken away. And it would be at the fault of the betrayers for what would happen next. It is with this that Hithistras, Yondarth Atticus, and Wanderer Might raise their hands. Demonic and deadly waves of energy forged into destructive fireballs. And just like that, they take aim at their land's sacred castle that contained their holiest Bible of knowledge. It was a sanctuary for all of Vegala to feel safety and comfort, to unite one another in a noble cause, holding the Vegalian Bible, which kept people protected, keeping a community of warriors alive and connected as one. But while their connection was strong, it is in this horrific and ghastly day of carnage, their unity was about to be tested. The fireballs crash into the castle. Foundations and bricks crumble to the ground. Flames surrounding the city. Vegalian people crying in agony as their beloved shrine falls into ashes and dust. Their castle had been destroyed. Ashes to ashes. This once proud temple of hope and prosperity became a desolate grave. The deities had let Tyrant and Fate out of their cages to be used as hunted prey. But the people of Vegala were too horrified, weakened by the lustful vengeance from power-hungry emperors. All they could do was sit and cradle one another. Families huddling up to be shoulders to cry on. Vegala weeps. But as one tear falls, so does the weight of what it carried. Tyrant stood with his people and chanted a harrowing and powerful speech before those brought to their knees.
Do you see, finally? Have your eyes brung themselves to attention? Look at what they did to our shrine. Our people, beaten down and annihilated by who we're supposed to glorify. They have greater power to take more away from us, so long as we step out of line. Whose line is it to own? What order does this bring? It only tells us we were itemized and tied to the inanimate. But look inward. Look towards your others. There are no lessers here. We don't see lesser. When we stop staring at the castle that bound us, you realize we were the castle. And this is one castle, that will never die. We can rebuild. We can repopulate, just as quick as we can burn down. But we can never die. It's time we took back what is ours, and rebel against the darkest monstrosity that plagues us all. You can either die along with the castle, or you can live as if it was never buried.
Silence fills the air, and before all hope seemed to fade, more and more Vegalians would stand up, proudly, boldly, one by one would rise from the corpse of their garden, reborn, resurrected, and reunited. A loud cheer fills the air. Vegala was no longer bound by a shrine. Vegala was the castle that could never die.
In a time of tribulation, where the walls seem to have cracked and crumbled underneath you, what must you do for your kingdom when all you want to do is run and find help? You travel the darkened fields in search for an answer, but you're not alone. You find another castle crumbling and another ruler seeking for help. Lost within the gaze of a doppelganger identity, you seek to help rebuild each other's castle. But what happens when both parts intertwine too emotionally? Something you already had and felt strong having throughout the future, lost within the ideology of a brand new light. You infatuate yourself into this life, doing everything you can to keep it close to you, feeling like everything you had was dying and in desperate need of a bright new future. You find later down the line that what you sought was already there in front of you. But because of your infatuation with making somebody else's castle yours as well, you crumble the foundations of everything around you. Your henchmen, unsure of what to do, scatter across the field, becoming nothing more than a pack of wild boar, not sure what their prey is. Your counselors, giving you the very thing you needed to stay strong, but at the end of the day, did you really want to be proven wrong again? Your ideology of making things right set you on an egocentric adventure to try and rectify this yourself. But when you know your light has been jaded, do you really know where the right way is deep down? You meet at a crossing point, where everyone around you is trying to fix things about their ruler, creating a new empire for themselves, but can only find so much wrong with it when they realize they were the very thing that kept the castle going. They run in aid in a desperate persistence to get you back to your kingdom to rule again. But so much has happened. Eventually, two sides are now fighting over you. Which castle do you take? Which is right and which is wrong? A war begins to erupt, every side in a vicious circle pit, and you're the toy kicked around. Suddenly, you flee. You run to the farthest ends of the world to seek your own choices. Believing you had finally escaped, you found a magical lake. A spirit emerges. But it isn't scary, because that spirit is you. Trying to talk to yourself, trying to find the things that went wrong, the things that went right. Oh, how you yearn for your life to be back the way it used to be, where your kingdom stood tall, and in the event of your bricks crumbling, acting upon this as quickly as possible, instead of running for an unpursuable dream. The realization, the epiphany, the very things around you already building back the past for themselves. You are given the most powerful sword you've ever seen. A magical weapon that when pushed into the ground and into the belly of the beast, turns everything back to the way it was. Your kingdoms are stronger again, but everything that you ever learned about the future stays with you. What does this mean to you, fellow traveler? It means don't take anything that fills you with peace for granted. If a dark shadow is emerging over this once peaceful land, cast it away with everything you've got. Try to fix it instead of destroy it. Don't let yourself get caught up in somebody else's life, when you have your very own to live. When greeted to a new life when your own was very fine, learn to negate it and stay true and loyal to your journey. No matter what shadow comes over you, and no matter what peace you find, never go through life regretting a single thing. Your book is your own, and if written the right way, can be the very thing that makes you interesting to read. Every warrior has their scars, but it takes actions with those scars to rectify their entire existence. What can you do with your scars? Rebuild this castle that never dies.